Hi, and welcome to Finding Better Balance. Today is November 26th, 2024, and I am just a couple weeks away of closing down this podcast and creating a 2.0 version of my journey and bringing you along for the ride. And I would just love to bring attention to the fact that this podcast has been around for 4 years. And my very first episode was December 17th, I think, of 2020. And if you can look back to what you were doing during that time, and I can tell you what I was doing and the things that were going on in my life and why I started to create a podcast. I was in the middle of COVID and everything shut down in March of 2020 and my episodes started in December of 2020. So during that time I had started going through a divorce. My ex and I separated, and um, that was a big change, of course. As a personal trainer and as a fitness instructor, I had to rework the way I did business. Lots of closures. I started going online and training outdoors, and my life was really turned upside down. And I started to uncover some things and dive deep into my personal growth journey. I listened to one or two podcast episodes. I can't remember the ones I was listening to. And I thought, why can't I create a podcast? And then so I did, because I had things to say and I wanted to share. Honestly, I had no idea if anybody would be listening to my podcast. It was like a speaking journal for me. I wanted to share what I was learning about myself and others. And since I was missing my fitness classes, I was missing that community and connection that I was having with others. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to bring people on for the ride of finding better balance. And that's how that started. So, Better Balance Fitness and Health is my business name. I remember when I created that name and I was with a client and we were brainstorming and talking about different ideas about what I was believing in and what I was bringing to my clients. So, better balance. I found that I was working with a lot of clients that we were working with their imbalances in their body on preventing injuries and working through injuries to get them back in balance. Then I'm also working with some of the older population, so working with balance on the single leg balance and preventing falls and that type of thing. And then finding better balance came about, and that's when I realized I am a trainer that has always worked with my clients in a way that's more than fitness. So, what does that mean? Diving deep into the personal growth journey, and myself included. So, it seemed fitting. One day I woke up and I thought, that's the name of my podcast. And for the last 4 years, the conversations I was having with people and learning about myself. And in that 4 year period, a lot of changes, right? There was COVID in there, new ways to do business, and separation. Both my parents have passed away, and I have a mom and dad who were clients of mine and then became close really close friends. And then when I was pregnant with my son, it just seemed only fitting that they would be Nana and Papa. So their names are Marilyn and Larry. And Marilyn was diagnosed with, I believe she was diagnosed with cervical cancer. And it's been a year and a half since she passed away. So she went through radiation and chemo. And it was the summer, not just past, but the summer before that she passed away. So, there's that. And also, my brother was diagnosed with a condition called ALS. And it's been over 2.5 years since he's been diagnosed. And my mom, 25 years ago, died from the same illness. So, this podcast has been a therapy, type of therapy session for me. Started out once a week, twice a week, once a month. And it's allowed me to speak my mind, share what's going on in my mind, and of all of the things that I've been learning. I met some amazing people during this 4-year period that were not in my life before that. And I learned so much from them. And a lot of those episodes were from conversations that I have had with them. And those people are still great friendships that I have. And um, I love that so much, right? You never know who's going to come into your life and change you. And that's another thing. In this 4-year period, I found my own joy. I found my voice. I found my self love and, um, started doing the things that I love and surrounded myself with people that I love. I was always working before, and I was always burying myself in stress, I guess, right? And then, hey, I had all the time to discover who I was and what I loved to do, and so I did all that. And then I thought I would like to bring somebody else into my life, a romantic partner. What kind of person do I want to have in my life? I love going for walks. I love doing all the things. And now I know what I like, what I don't like. So I think I'm ready to inc- include somebody else. I want to hold hands and I want to go adventuring with somebody. And so I put myself out there and I found my person, my perfect person for me. We are perfectly imperfect together. And we love adventure and um, passion, the adventure, the willingness to be completely ourselves. And I love that so much. And my partner and I, we have so much fun together. And it's really incredible that that has come out of these 4 years since I started this podcast, right? My son has had his first love and his first breakup during this 4-year period. He's off to university and on a new path. And, I was listening to some of my old podcasts, my 15-year-old son and how he's managing through COVID. And, he's almost 19. He'll be 19 in a couple of days. And that's really fantastic to look back at that and also listen to those podcast episodes that will always be there. But it's time for 2.0 now. Finding better balance, finding myself, sharing what I've been learning, and all of that. And now I'm ready to take my podcast. I'm not closing it down and never doing a podcast again, but my next podcast 2.0 is going to be about, everything I've learned and what I've learned and how I can help others with what I have learned and what I'm continuing to learn about myself and about others, and some concrete ideas about how I can help others not only find themselves but live more and stress less. And that's what I'm learning over the last few years is, finding yourself and being so authentic and showing your authentic self and accepting yourself as whole, sharing your gifts. Okay, this is another thing that I've learned over the last few months is in my journey of, protecting your energy, showing your true self. I have found the human design. And the human design, we'll call it an experiment because it really is a self-awareness tool, um, about bringing you back to who you really are and what your gifts are, and deconditioning all the shoulds and all the things that we have learned over the years, and as children and our childhood and now as adults, our belief systems and the things that we tell ourselves. Are they true? Are they things that we've been taught and told that we are? And actually rediscovering and honoring who you are. So, in the next couple of weeks, I am going to be reviewing some of those podcast episodes and sharing them on my social media. And I've already been doing that. But, you know, having a birthday party for Finding Better Balance. That podcast, my very first podcast, it's time to celebrate it and celebrate its anniversary and the birth of Finding Balance and the graduation of Finding Balance and getting ready for 2.0. So stay tuned for that. I would love for you to be a regular listener to that podcast as well. And I'm still working through the name because I think I have an idea of what I would like to call it, but still not 100% sure. So I think on December 17th, I think that's the date, I'm doing a Facebook Live for a birthday party for Finding Better Balance. And then I will launch Balance 2.0. And the title itself is still to be determined. So thank you so much for being a regular listener for Finding Balance and coming along the journey with me as we continue to find better balance in our lives and what that means for us into the future. Let's carry on and continue to grow, continue to learn about ourselves, share our authentic selves, and this journey of life that, here I am living life and sharing and bringing you along for the ride. And, it's been really amazing. And I think I'll do another one or two more episodes of this podcast. Reflection and gratitude for what I have learned and what I've gone through in the last 4 years in this podcast, Finding Better Balance. Thank you so much for listening. Let's all continue to find better balance in all areas of our lives and stay tuned for Better Balance 2.0. And in the next couple of weeks, another one or two episodes, and I will share my new episodes and my new podcast so you can find me there. And again, thanks so much for listening. Until next time.